Special breaking news. It is a very special edition of the Atlanta Grubber podcast. We do Columbus, Ohio.
It's the Atlanta Grubber podcast with surefire restaurant reviews from throughout the Atlanta metropolitan area. Hosted by Joe Duffy, there is a special focus on his home chomping grounds of Alpharetta and Roswell. You can follow the podcast on Twitter and Instagram at Atlanta Grubber and on atlantagrubber.com. Without further ado, here is your infallible restaurant whisperer, Joe Duffy.
Our first ever special edition. It's going to be Columbus, Ohio, which has become our home away from home over the last 3 years. We've been to Columbus, Ohio, probably 15 or so times, stay for at least 3 days or so each and every time. So most of these places I'm going to tell you about, I've been to multiple times, which kind of meets my criterion. I'm not going to put my pristine reputation on the line unless I've been to a place twice, and I've already been to more than my share of outstanding eateries in Cbus. We are brought to you in part by OffshoreInsiders.com for the best sports betting selections, as well as vetted offshore sportsbooks. It's OffshoreInsiders.com. After doing my research for our campus visit about 3 years ago, the place that really screamed out was Momo Gar, a food stall in the Saraga International Grocery. Super tight squeeze, definitely for the more adventurous. It's Tibetan and Nepalese dumplings, but they've got a second location in the fantastic North Market. I'm going to talk a lot about the North Market in this special edition for sure. Love the North Market, but these are very big, tasty, great meal in and of itself. The Momos are. Food Network even featured them. Try the Tibetan chicken in spicy tomato sauce. Pat and Gracie's has two locations. There's one downtown, but we've been to the Graceland location at least a half dozen times.
Well, Gracie, what would you like to talk about?
Hold on, Gracie. Let me take this one over. It's really the opposite of Momar Gar. You don't have to be adventurous at all. This is good old basic, unadventurous American food, but I don't really mean that much of a slap in the face because everything they have is really good. In fact, the family agrees the single best tater tots that we've ever had. Also enjoyed brunch there, and my Buckeye, who's certainly a burgeoning food snob, really enjoyed his French toast. I also got to say this, my favorite chain dish anywhere is the spinach and artichoke dish at Houston's, and probably the best I ever had. But then again, Pat and Gracie's gives them a run for their money. Excellent spinach and artichoke dip. One of the best chicken sandwiches I've ever had. High quality chicken, caramelized onions, avocado mousse really makes the sandwich. Monterey Jack cheese and applewood bacon. Also, they have a good supply of Ohio beers. I've seen Truth on tap from Cincinnati's Rheingeist Brewery a few times, and generally at least one beer from Columbus Brewing Company, or known to the locals as CBC, and this is one of the better breweries in the country. Well, we absolutely had to try my son's favorite place. He's been raving about it. Jiu Thai Asian, that's Jiu. A little bit deceptively named because it's really more Northern Chinese. Apparently it's named after Mount Tai, which is in North China, but then again, the Mount Tai usually is without an H. Either way, my son's favorite dish is Biang Biang noodles, something that's really tough to find in a lot of cities in the United States, even in a city as big as Columbus. Furthermore, my lamb ramen, though traditionally a Japanese dish, really seemed to have a Thai influence, though, with a broth that was bursting with flavor thanks to curry and coconut milk. Also got some squid head as an appetizer and sausage charcoal barbecue. Very good place with authentic Northern Chinese dishes, maybe a few others from Asian countries, and they do even have some Americanized staples. Now, this is one restaurant I've only been to once. My son, though, has been to many times, and he loves it. Catalina's, there is a downtown location, but I've been to the Clintonville one several times. Look, I've had sandwiches that have made national lists, from Katz's in New York, DeNick's, Permane Brothers, Brown Hotel, Portillo's, Mr. Beef, Tony Luke's. You get the idea. Their Mazatlan sandwich has Beeler pork, and if you don't know anything about meat, Beeler's is one of the best suppliers of meats in the country. Amish provolone, they say, is made locally. Fantastic old world bread, etc. It is as good as any sandwich I've had. This belongs on the national list with the other places that I've mentioned. We've also had their famous pancake balls. Nutella's probably my favorite, but my wife, my son, and I all love this. They have high quality bacon as well. Got a hens in the blanket with Bueller bacon for breakfast one day. Everything about this place is excellent, but the Mazatlan sandwich, as far as I'm concerned, is up there with other famous sandwiches I've had around the country. We continue with the special edition of Atlanta Grubber at atlantagrubber.com as we are visiting Columbus. Brassica is located in the heart of the uber cool Short North or Upper Arlington, a neighborhood that we've stayed in a couple times. Really cool neighborhood, actually. Fast, casual Mediterranean, really good cheap eats. You choose your protein or a falafel or even a vegetarian mix on a homemade pita or on greens with lentils and rice. I strongly recommend the lamb bacon. Again, that's Brassica, spelled Brassica. Hot chicken takeover. There's a few locations in Columbus. In fact, Google them. Kind of an interesting story how they give employees a second chance in life. A lot of these employees have served in prison. We've been to the one in Clintonville, almost in Graceland. Also, it's among the countless options in North Market. Been to that one a couple times, especially my family, while I eat some of the more adventurous stuff. It's Nashville chicken. I've been to Hattie B's, the original one in Nashville. This is at least pretty competitive with it. Really good take on Nashville chicken. Marcella's also in the Short North. Really good Italian. The veal meatballs are a must-get. And yet another place on High Street in the Short North, the Eagle. One of our early meals. We Southerners like our fried chicken, but the Eagle does it quite well. There's about a half dozen of these around the country. And in fact, the one in Indianapolis is among the highest rated places in the city. But pretty cool place. Also had a nice beer selection. Chinese beef noodle soup. This is the place I like closest to campus. Now, warning, this is the real deal. If you're looking for mugu this, garlic chicken, this place is frankly not for you. Some really good Szechuan dishes, a few American dishes as well. Very tight squeeze. Quite frankly, not much ventilation. Maybe best for takeout, but of the places that are within a stone's throw of campus, this might be my favorite. Then again, not all that far from campus, there's a food truck hidden off of High Street.
What is that? Barbecue?
Now look, we are Southerners. You wouldn't expect Ohio to be some of the best barbecue we've had. It's been featured on some national lists. Ray Ray's Hog Pit. Yep, it is barbecue on a well-hidden food truck. We sat outside in 42-degree weather to eat it. The lines were long for very good reason. Look, you Midwesterners do barbecue quite well. I would happily sit out in the cold. I wound up getting a couple different meats. They were all really good, like the sides. And yeah, I can understand why this has appeared on a couple national lists of best barbecue in the country. I'm far from done. We got a lot more places in Columbus, Ohio to talk about.
DuffyGifts.com offers the finest My 31 gifts such as purses, jewelry, organizers, storage bins, and so much more. These gifts are perfect for graduates, weddings, and any occasion, whether it's for him or for her. For the most thoughtful gifts, check out Stephanie Duffy at DuffyGifts.com.
Harvest Bar and Kitchen in Clintonville. This is kind of like Pat and Gracie's. Not so much the menu itself, but the fact that it is a very safe menu for families that really don't like to get all that adventurous. Love the beef and pork meatballs. All 5 Duffys, in fact, have eaten here. Better than average pizza. Good bison burger. Best of all, they always have had Bodie on tap. This is a sensational Columbus beer. Bodie from Columbus Brewery. Always on tap at Harvest Bar and Kitchen. La Tavala, a Grandview gem. It's funny, if you're not familiar with Columbus and you approach it from one direction, you think it's sort of in the middle of a neighborhood, in the middle of nowhere. Then you approach it from another direction, or once you're familiar with it, you realize, no, it's just slightly off of the beaten path of, as I said, Grandview, really neat neighborhood. The house specialty is gnocchi, and it is very good. Chef Rick Lopez, he makes all the pastas, or they are imported, but this is very high-end Italian, fairly casual place. The entire family loves it. Me, your host, of course I like the more adventurous places. The family, they want good, but maybe, a little bit more comfortable. But I would say La Tavala is one of those places that both I love and the family loves. Katzinger's Deli, it's a very good Jewish deli in the German Village Brewery District area. Look, Columbus has a lot of really cool neighborhoods. If I have one complaint, folks, in Columbus, you got a lot of very narrow two-way streets. Not a big fan of driving on some of those streets, but the German Village is a really neat area to walk around. And like I said, right there on the German Village Brewery District border, I don't even know what neighborhood it's technically considered in. I think the Brewery District, but good Jewish deli for sure. Upper Arlington has a really good ramen place, Americanized. Quite frankly, I am terrified to pronounce it, so I'm going to let the owner himself do it.
I'm Jeff Tao from Fukuria Ramen.
You can see why I was a little hesitant to try to pronounce
Fukuria Ramen.
Yeah, I think a lot of people will throw the authenticity flag here. Like I said, it's definitely aimed more towards Americans, even though it's a couple miles from campus. Looked like a very hip place with a lot of young people, but I liked it, and so did the family. Okay, I think I've worked up the guts to try to say it. Fukuria Ramen. The Thurman Cafe, you've seen them on Man vs. Food.
All right! Now that I got my game face on, I'm ready for my first stop. A Buckeye Burger institution, the Thurman Cafe.
I mean, it's good. The burgers are humongous, 3/4 of a pound. I don't know if this is really the first place I'm going to send you. I know it's kind of a fun place for a food challenge. I did particularly like the cheese curds. I guess being from Atlanta, we don't get those quite as much in the South as they are in the Midwest. They're very good here. Very happy to get a good version. I went there with my daughter and my son. Actually, we went up there for siblings weekend, and all three of us did like the place. Good choice, the Thurman Cafe. The Fish Guys, also in my favorite place in Columbus, the North Market. Lobster roll was very good, more finely chopped than most that I've had, and was on a cold, non-buttered roll. That's okay with me. I know a lot of people are particular about their styles of lobster rolls. This was also some good New England clam chowder, better than average. I'd like to try a few other items. Hubert's Polish Kitchen, guess where it is? The North Market yet again. Now, I'm a complete moron. When I went here, I was craving their pierogies, as the signage implied it was their specialty. However, I never really asked what kind they were serving. Realized it was potato after I sat down with a side order of mashed potatoes that looked so good. Very good these potato pierogies were. When I go back, I would like to try some with meat and other items, but in particular, if you like mashed potatoes, they were some of the best I've ever had in my life. I guess there's just something about Columbus, the best tater tots I've possibly ever had at Pat and Gracie's, and the best mashed potatoes I've ever had at Hubert's Polish Kitchen right in the North Market. Schmidt's Sausage House and Restaurant. This is one place maybe with somewhat mixed reviews. The food is excellent and some of the best sausage I've had. All of our food came out lukewarm. Pretty sure we went on a bad night. It was good food that really wasn't all that well executed when we visited. The thing to get, though, is the jumbo cream puff, as they describe it, their famed half-pound award-winning combination of special whipped filling in a lightly baked pastry shell. Quite appropriately, this is located in that groovy German Village neighborhood that I talked about. Scotty's Cafe. Now, this is the furthest from campus. My daughter and I decided to take a ride when we went up there for that aforesaid siblings weekend while her oldest brother was in class. It's in a neighborhood called Bexley. It's probably the highest rated place in the crowdsourcing review sites. It was definitely good, but after all the build-up, I was expecting it to be one of my favorite places in Columbus. Maybe fell a little bit short of that. Still, I would definitely like to try it again. The potato latkes were very good, and maybe next time I'll make a meal just out of that. But definitely worth something that I would try again. I think my wife might even like it. We'll take her there one of these trips. And if you're like me, an Ohio State parent, you'd like to take a look at a different part of Columbus, this is also worth the drive. Lavash Cafe, a nice, fast, casual Mediterranean place in Clintonville. Obviously, we're returning much closer to campus. I got the gyro, the son got the falafel. Now, should we order it on a pita or lavash? Well, it's not called the Pita Cafe now, is it? Son really loved his. The fries tasted very fresh cut. I did like the gyro, but the name notwithstanding, I think I'm going to try the pita next time, and my son said the same thing. What really jumped out at me, now I'm a carnivore, but this lentil soup was possibly the best I've ever had and one of the best vegetarian soups that I've ever consumed. You know, I told you in my home chomping grounds, Mitch's Meats, how I love his cauliflower soup as one of the better vegetarian soups, but this lentil soup was tremendous, and it's not often that I'm really craving something that is vegetarian, but I would go there again and maybe even get a couple of soups.
Baby, if you've ever wondered whatever became of me, I'm living on the air in Cincinnati, WKRP.
Columbus is roughly a 2-hour drive from Cincinnati and does have a location of Skyline Chili. In fact, quite a few of the hotels are on Olentangy River Road, and that's where Skyline Chili and C-Bus is located. I've gotten their signature item, the 3-way, which has the chili on spaghetti and a ton of shredded cheddar cheese. Of course, you can get it on a hot dog, a couple other different ways. There aren't too many chains that your Atlanta Grubber loves, but Skyline Chili, without question, one of those gold chains. And if you're from Ohio, I'm sure you've been to a Skyline Chili. And if you're like me, you're a visitor from out of state, how the heck can you go to Ohio and not go to Skyline Chili? And like I said, this one is well within walking distance of campus. In fact, depending on where we stay, I pass the Skyline Chili walking to campus occasionally. And to our friends in Columbus, Ohio, you definitely want to follow me on Instagram, not to mention Twitter at Atlanta Grubber. I will be continuing to visit Columbus restaurants and updating you with details there. I'm not the world's greatest photographer, but my food recommendations are infallible at Atlanta Grubber. When we do stay in Upper Arlington, our hotel is right near a Grater's ice cream. Grater's, of course, is based out of Ohio, and I like it even better than Jenny's, which is directly in Columbus, Ohio. Yeah, my kids have been to the original one, and where else? North Market, that is, Jenny's, that is. But if given the choice, look, I like both of them, but Grater's is a very good place. Like to get their malts at the Grater's store in Upper Arlington. So yeah, definitely for dessert, you gotta get Grater's ice cream. One of the special episodes I will likely do sometime in the near future is some road food on the way from Georgia to Columbus, Ohio. We've discovered quite a few places in Tennessee, Kentucky, also in Cincinnati itself. So that's a possible future episode. You know, my parents live outside of the Philadelphia area, got quite a few places in South Jersey and Philadelphia that I liked, and yeah, now my youngest son will be going to Savannah College of Arts and Designs, and Savannah's a very good food city, so maybe somewhere in the next couple years we'll be doing a special edition on that city as well, but we'll still focus mostly on Atlanta Metropolitan Eats. Please support the podcast by visiting Duffy Scents. That's SCENTS, as in fragrances, and these fragrances are great. Like I say, I've got it warming in my office. I'm in my office like 16 hours a day. We got it in the laundry room. We got them in the bathroom. Tremendous scents. Go there and just pick out, you know, your favorite one. I promise you will love this stuff. And although Duffy Scents, we do not call ourselves by any mean aromatherapy, I'm just telling you, I don't know if it's a placebo. I don't know if there's any science behind it, but these smells, they just relax me. DuffyScents.com, SCENTS. Stephanie Duffy is an authorized Scentsy dealer.